Welcome to the Minding Your Business podcast. I'm CJ Jolliffe with
Aaron Gerald.
Yeah. So we are on episode 18. I don't know if that's a milestone. I feel like it's a milestone after today. We've had a lot of technology issues and stuff today, but
it is a milestone. It's a dozen and a half episodes.
There you go. Yeah.
So it's a bunch. I mean, really.
I mean, to think of if the average episode is like, 40 minutes or so, that's us talking for more than 9 hours. That sounds terrible.
Wow.
Anyway, so
binge the podcast if you haven't.
Right.
If you haven't.
Hey, if you're going on a road trip, man, we'll get you at least a quarter of the way across the country.
Yeah. Technical issues. My goodness. The entire day has just been one technical issue after another. Before I was even able to get on the podcast, before we even met, 2.5 hours ago now, to try and do this podcast, I couldn't even get my lights working. I couldn't get anything going because the router reset back to default. And I don't know if that's a thing if something I did, something someone else did, or something that just, maybe the router's bad. I don't know, but it did it. So it is what it is.
Like,
at any rate,
love
glad to be on
I
now.
love gadgets and stuff, but there are times where I just sit there and I think, like everything analog, just having like a easy, like on off switch, not smart home, like a dumb home. Gosh, that's just like, it's nice and simple, But yes, we'll get it figured out eventually. We're just trying to elevate our game, Now that we're doing video, we want to make sure we can deliver the best video, the crispest audio, the most crisp audio, clear audio.
Yeah, the crispiest.
Yeah, crispiest. That's probably what I was going for.
Yeah.
I'm
so
not really sure.
I know we're limited on time. What is today's topic for us to talk about? I know last week we started talking a little bit about the ads that you had. Run, and we were looking at stuff. And then after we got off the podcast, we talked for like another 30 minutes. And I remember you were like, oh my God. And we had some epiphanies.
Yeah.
Any thought to sharing some of those
let's
with
just go through it. Let me see. I'm probably not even logged in because I'm a complete loser. We've been so distracted by all the issues. So I was thinking I could screen share it and actually show it on the podcast, but you know what? Let's see. I'm just looking if I have everything set up. I don't. So,
okay.
I'll read you the statistics. So
just go over it. Cause I remember
YouTube first.
Yeah.
Right?
That was the exciting one.
It was. And first of all, so backing up for anyone that didn't listen to that last episode, basically we had seen, we uploaded a 35-second ad to YouTube Shorts, the other social media channels too, but then also to TikTok. And we were basically looking at Shorts versus TikTok and what the results were. So just looking at, let me see here, looking at that first video we uploaded. Let's see, we had over 250 or 249 views. What was interesting about that was that we know that our target market is probably female between the ages of 35 and 54.
Right.
And so YouTube very much confirmed that that's who our target was. In fact, our watch time on YouTube, so in comparison to TikTok, the watch time on TikTok without paying for people to watch it, just organically, we had about 450 views just organically.
Right.
And this is all within the span of 24 hours. And it was skewed towards women a little bit, but there were a lot more men in there. But our watch time of that 450 or so views was like less than 3 seconds. So it was very much scrolling, right? Did not get didn't get a good interrupt. So going back to YouTube, we had about 250, I think it was 249 views.
Okay.
The watch time was actually over a minute, the average watch time. What's really interesting about that, so what does that mean? It's a 35-second video, right? People were watching it twice. And of them, it was, let's see if I can actually see the numbers. It was very much women right in that target market where we thought we would be. So men, our analytics were like, I think it was like 15 seconds or less. I want to say it was closer to 5. But so comparing things, right? So that is the first version of what we came up with, and I played it on the episode last week.
Right.
Why I think that we didn't have a longer watch time on TikTok is because we didn't have an interrupt.
Right.
The way the structure of an ad is to interrupt, engage, educate, and then offer or call to action. So what I think happened is we just skipped that interrupt and we went straight to the engage, trying to talk to them and educate them. But we haven't broken their beta brainwaves, right? So they're in this scrolling mode and they just scroll right past us. So what we did this time is upload the original version that was longer. It was about 1 minute and 13 seconds. It's a lot longer. It's all the same content, except it's got more jokes in it. So it starts out with about 15 minutes of
15 seconds
acting a fool, but basically it's got an interrupt. It may not be the best interrupt, but it's got, it starts off not just trying to sell you something. So the most interesting difference is the actual number of views. So it is sad on both platforms. I don't know what the difference is. I used all the exact same, hashtags and all this stuff was comparable, right? I did change one little piece in the description to not say Black Friday, but to say like Christmas season, And so on YouTube Shorts, we got 5 views instead of 249. Crazy. So maybe it's just a matter of like, because certain people didn't watch it at all. Like they did. I don't know. I feel really good about having that average watch time of like 1 minute and 5 seconds or whatever it was. Because obviously people were watching more than once. Some people are. Maybe it's one person that just put it on loop for 30 minutes. I don't know. So that's super disappointing. Let me get logged into TikTok really quick. Because I'm not prepared. But TikTok was also...
And that was an organic upload. You just plopped it out there.
Yeah. There was no paid ads or anything. Because I wanted to just compare apples to apples.
So let me ask you this. On that short video, how it was discovered? Was it on browse? Was it on suggested? What was the primary? I know it was only 5, but before that, what was it?
Well, now I'm on a different screen trying to log in. I can tell you in a second.
Fine.
Fine. Don't find me. Jeez.
No, I'm just curious because if it very well just could have been the Black Friday on search, and people searched Black Friday, it came up and they saw it.
Could have been, but that was like just one. That was one hashtag of many. But yeah, that's a very good point.
That's the only thing you changed.
That and the length. So we had 450 of the first version on TikTok. We had analytics. Here we go. 24. However, average watch time 7 1/3 seconds. So
so it's gone up quite a bit more.
Yeah, that's not a great, sample size to really say, oh, this is definitely, I'd like it to be in the triple digits. But what I may do is throw some money at it, spend $20-$30 for a day and
just so you can see
and see if it changes. Yeah. Because 7.35 seconds is a lot better than sub 3 seconds. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So, Yeah. Yeah. So
Interesting. Now on YouTube at that minute something, did it
yes,
kick it into videos or did it keep it in shorts? Because I know they just did an
shorts.
algorithm change or a change where you can go a short longer than a minute now.
Okay.
Whereas
Yeah.
before you didn't. If it was a minute, 1 second, it got uploaded as a vertical video, which was
Okay.
terrible. You got no engagement.
Maybe. I mean, I'm looking at it. Well, let me go back. Actually, let me go back to the channel. Shorts. It is shorts.
It's in the shorts now. Okay, they said they were updating and it was supposed to happen, but
But it still
interesting.
may,
Okay.
by being longer, it may not get as much push. Who knows? That's what this is all about, right? This is us experimenting and trying different things. And so,
And find out.
yeah, I mean, and now we're going to take the information we have and we're going to run a special in January. And we're basically going to do something each month and we're going to track it and see if we can get better at it. You know, that's, you know, that's what a lot of this for me is just honing that, those marketing skills. You know, I spent quite a while doing this, but not for myself. It's always been for other people. And so there was a level of accountability and, you know, other people involved, team members involved. And this is basically my 16-year-old son and me. And any of the ideation comes from, you know, the two of us, or when you have a great suggestion, you know, that kind of thing. So, it'd be great if, you know, there was more accountability and more expectation and pressure. I think I'd probably work better. But this is experimentation.
It's hard to do it when it's just you. And
yeah,
when somebody else is telling you what to do, you're like, that's a terrible idea. And this is what would be better. Versus when you're coming up with it, you can't call your own idea terrible and what would be better.
I have to
so you almost need devil's advocate. Like you have to, it's going to make it tougher.
Yeah, for sure. Because and
then the other part is
terrible ideas.
Darn it. It keeps switching. I am having a microphone problem again because it keeps saying it's changing. Yeah, it keeps shutting off and reconnecting. It's bothersome. Anyway, you can't play devil's advocate with your son when it's his idea and his coffee and his stuff. And he's like, oh, Dad, here's what I want to do. And you're like, no, that's ridiculous. Here's what you do instead. So you can't really do that. Like that's, you got to tread lightly there. But
I mean,
so you're behind the gun a little bit, but
I probably should tread lightly. I probably have a tendency to not. But yeah, that's now we get into the minding part of minding your business.
Of the business.
Right. Let me go find a couch. Let's lay down and talk about my parenting. I'll lay down and talk about my parenting style.
Yeah.
Wow.
Man.
So yeah.
So you're gonna run some more tests and do some more things with it. That's interesting. I can tell you just on my little YouTube channel, the thing that I started the microphone probably did the thing again. I started the switch over again, where I'm going back to doing more relationship-y stuff.
Yeah.
And my directioner, Shri, told me, this is what you need to do. Trust me. I'm like, fine. I did it. And the first video in the new series of his directioning is, it's only been out, I don't know, 2-3 hours or whatever.
Okay.
It's only got 3 or 4 views, 5 views, whatever. But in the first like 5 minutes, it got a view, a like, and a comment from one of the subscribers.
Okay.
And I don't know who it is. So I know that when I try and promote my own thing and I see it and I'll watch it myself and whatever, just to get a little bit of something on it. And maybe that's trashing it. I don't know. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe it's fine. I don't know. But I do want to watch it and see how it looks on YouTube, because it always is a little bit different. I need to make sure that it's got a decent frame rate and whatever. Because I watched the pre one, and then when it goes up, maybe it's not as high def. So anyway, I need to make sure. I will try to see if the microphone just did it again. I honestly,
it might be time to restart your computer.
Okay. That's what I'll do. It's because it's been a little bit, probably a week since I've done it. So it's probably time. I know earlier today I had to restart Chrome, so probably I need to restart the computer too. So I will do that. But the first time I've gotten a comment on a brand new video like immediately, which is awesome, which means it did get pushed out to at least one subscriber. One subscriber did see that it popped up and was like, yes, this is the thing. I do want to watch this kind of video. And then wrote, great.
Right.
Okay. Not a super lengthy comment, but I got a comment nonetheless, which was nice. I don't know what was great about it. So I commented back, hey, is there anything else you'd like to see? You know, that kind of stuff, try and create some engagement. No response back yet, but it is interesting to see and to know people are actually getting it or watching it or seeing it or it's going out or whatever.
Right.
And, but that video, I feel like I did a better job at it. It was a little shorter. It was a little more concise. I just talked directly. I did some moving around and some walking and so forth. I'm getting a little bit better at that. Not a lot of bit better yet, but you know, another 100 videos, dude, I'm going to be amazing.
There you go.
It. So,
yeah.
So it is what it is
with our technology issues in this podcast, you know, like give us another, hey, I mean, honestly, give us another 10 episodes and we'll have this dialed in. Probably not even that many, but you know, part of it too is like, you can't be, stationary, right? Like technology is always moving forward. Algorithms are always changing. Like if you just do the same thing you've always done, you're just going to get left behind.
Right. And even if whatever worked this week doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work next week.
That's right. That's right.
So, and I think that that kind of thinking is healthy because I think it applies to everything, relationships, business. So it is the minding your business. Like it is really trying to stay, if not on the cutting edge, but staying with the wave, riding the wave as it goes. Right. You may not be leading, but you got to be moving.
They say you've got to be. There's cutting edge and then there's bleeding edge. Bleeding edge is like it's just bleeding all your funds, right?
Right.
I try to be aware of the like absolute, you know, bleeding edge, and go, man,
and stay ahead of it.
That's great. Or you know, but like at the same time, not spend all my resources. Time, you know, is really probably the big one in trying to stay there. It's like, okay, well, let's see what's going to take off, you know.
Yeah.
This is a bad example, but like go back 15 years. Yes. 15, 16 years and HD DVD versus Blu-ray, you know, like which one's going to take off? And at the end, neither, because it went, you know, streaming
digital.
Right. Yeah. So, but yeah, people like, you know, you go all in on something and then you realize that, hey, maybe that's not the direction that everyone else is going. So,
right.
Being aware of it though, you have to be aware of it. Like we've talked about this before, but AI, you and I are both are like, we're definitely not AI experts, but we're not,
we're not looking at it.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
I'm in there probably a couple times a month, you know, looking at different things, what our possibilities are now, you know, what are some of the new things we can try, you know, I'm still looking at like, how can it make me better? I know that AI is probably not going to replace me, but it can definitely replace parts of what I do or automate parts of what I do. So,
yes. Yeah. I find for research, AI is better for me than just straight Google. Yes, Google has access to a lot of things, but the AI, I can say, hey, give me an outline of what I need to know about this thing. And then it searches the whole web and then it tells me. And then I'm like, okay, now I need to start looking those things up. So it gives me a map. And then, I still have to travel to all the cities myself, but it gives me a map to know, hey, you're going from here to there. Make sure you make these 5 stops.
So I saw something, I think it was earlier this week. It might've been into last week, but they were basically talking about Googling is for old people because like if you're under 30, you don't Google, you just go into ChatGPT or use, you know, one of the other like AI
Gemini
yeah, exactly. So, hey, despite the wrinkles and the bags under our eyes, we're hip with the kids. I can't believe I just said that. It's terrible.
I think that proves that we're not.
I know, right? I have no desire to be either. You know, like, in some ways I'm a super old man. In other ways, I'm a 15-year-old boy. So,
yeah. It's funny because I do feel like I used to feel like I was still 29 on the inside and 50 on the outside.
Yeah.
And now I feel like, no, I've met a lot of 29-year-olds and I'm definitely not 29 on the inside. I am a spry 50 on the inside, but I wouldn't change that at all because like just being aware of the things now at 50 that I didn't know at 30. I don't know that I'd want to go back and be a stupid 30-year-old again.
Right.
And by stupid, I don't mean it was my fault. I was trying, I was struggling, I was going for it. I learned everything I had needed to learn up to that point. But at that, you just don't have the experience. You don't have the insight that you have because of the lack of experience. You think you're making the best possible choice, and you are based on the information that you have at that moment.
Exactly.
But it's like you can't see over the hill, and there's other people that are like, oh, no. Oh, well, either way. And you think too, even when people are giving you advice, like I remember being at 30 and people would give me advice and I would be like, I'm sure when you were my age, it was different. And yeah, you probably applied then, but it doesn't now. And then now 10 years, 20 years later, I look back and I'm like, dang, I could have shortcut all of this if I'd have just listened to them.
Right.
But you don't know what you don't know.
That's
and it is funny too, because I try and tell my son and my clients and people, I'm like, I know where you are. I know what you're doing. I know what you're thinking. And I'll tell it to you clearly so that you know I know. And they're like, okay. And I'm like, and here's what you should be doing. And they're like, no. And I'm like, and I'll tell you why you won't listen to me. And I'll explain that so that you'll have a clearer indication that I'm right and that you could at least try what I'm saying and see how it works for you. And they're like, no. It's always no. They just don't do it.
Yeah.
So this is why too, now I can't even see clients under 18. I can't even see them under 20.
Yeah.
It's difficult in their 20s because their brain's not done cooking at this point. And I'm like, I'm talking and using terms and terminology and ways of thinking that they're not there yet.
Yeah. And
so I'm like, okay. And it's difficult to wind back. Just like when you're trying to teach somebody how to get into doing, storytelling and whatever, like you're so far down here, you're working on how do I wrap up the last chapter, and other people are like, how do I introduce the characters? Like, and so for you to go back and try and remember that is tough.
So I think a great analog is like, I've worked with a lot of different clients in the past, and there's some clients that are just too green. They might be really successful.
Right.
And they're doing a great job, but they haven't gone through this thing yet, haven't gone through a certain season. A great example is if you've never failed, in not saying never failed period, but in what you're currently working on, if it has never failed, it is really difficult to walk someone through and really consult with them and help them come up with a plan and strategy. I mean, you can, but they don't tend to listen.
Right. It's not real for them yet.
Right. Because they everything they've done, everything they've tried has just worked. And so it's like, you have to have some failure to get some perspective. And so, as a consultant, what we're doing is we're just holding a mirror up, and we're letting the clients, share with us what their inside reality is. Right. But then what we give back to them is the outside perspective. And the goal is to get those two things to match, because they look at it only from their perspective. It's really hard to look at your business by yourself with clear eyes.
Right.
And it's also what's great about coming into like a consulting situation is you're going in, I'm going in with some
only
idea,
seeing it from the outside.
But I'm learning the inside. And then what's awesome is when you hit that point and you go, no, that's the thing you should be sharing, because that's so, whether it's storytelling or whatever, that's the part that people need to know. And so, but yeah, if they've only ever experienced success, it's really hard to work with people because they're not open-minded,
Right. I mean, when, why should they be? Everything they've done's worked.
Because they know what they're doing. Right.
Right.
Yeah. Got the Midas touch.
Yeah.
I would say also, the opposite of that is really hard to work with two people that have only ever experienced failure. That's,
Yeah, because they don't know what it feels like to succeed. And
so then
when
you have
they
to turn
start
into
to
like a
succeed, they
cheerleader.
self-sabotage. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
I was
Yeah.
actually watching one of your videos the other day on YouTube, and I think it was you were talking about the fear of success versus fear of failure. I thought that was a really, really good one. One of these days,
Yeah.
today we don't have the time for it, but it'd be fun to unpack that here.
Right.
Just,
Because I honestly told myself I was afraid of succeeding. And then because I haven't,
Right.
I've never reached any huge level of success. For the most part, everything I do works out, but I've never reached over that. Like I always get to this point and then it stops.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, well, I guess this tree's done producing. And it's like, no, if you fertilize it, if you water it, but I don't know the next steps. Like I'm really good at starting things and getting them going. And then I get bored and then I move on anyway. So, but yeah, I think it would be interesting to look at that. Because I do feel like I had that fear of success. I always called it that. And then I thought, I don't know. I'm afraid of being too successful because then my family's going to look at me different. And then like I can't not be successful because I've always been under the impression that they thought I was going to be successful. And so they've always said like, no, you're obviously going to be something. You're going to take care of us. You're going to do this, this.
Oh, the weight of expectations.
Yeah. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that. So I always get to the point where I'm like, and then I back up. And so I've got to stop doing that.
Yeah, I can definitely see that in you. Like you're really good at getting that momentum started, right? And we've been working together for a long time, right? So years and years and years at this point. But it's funny because I can see your tendency is to go, okay, I'm going east, and then you've sprinted and you got there and you look around, you're like, I'm gonna go north, and then you sprint, and so it's like so. What people don't know is behind the scenes. I love this, but all the great ideas, and I get to be like kind of the anchor, of like, okay, that's great. How does that tie into this, what we're trying to do here or what you're trying to do there?
Right.
And you have to have both. I can say that I have that exact same tendency. And for me, my anchor's not the right word. Because that sounds like I'm, holding you back or something.
Holding back. Yeah.
But it's really, the filter, the person that kind of like keeps me grounded is Darcy, my wife. She's like, because I probably lean on I'm very much optimistic, and she's more on she's realistic. She's not pessimistic. I can't have that in my life.
Right.
But if my optimism can convince her realism, then I feel like I've got something good,
As soon as there's that overlap where the two meet and you're like, okay,
But you know what doesn't work is two people that are completely 100% optimistic. And they're just like, it's just like, yes, we're going to rule the world. You're probably not.
Right.
But,
yeah. And I definitely don't have that. I'm of the mindset that a good decision is to make a decision. And even the wrong decision made fast enough is still better than the right decision made too late.
Right.
So for me, make a decision, move.
Yeah.
And my wife is like, we sleep on everything. We don't make rash decisions because we don't know if it's us making the decision or are we being misled.
Right.
And there have been times where I'm convinced, nope, let's do it. And she's like, let's wait until tomorrow. Let's just sleep on it. Let's think about this. We'll talk about it some more tonight. Get a clear head. We'll talk about it. And if it still makes sense, we'll do it.
Yeah.
And then I can recognize that I was influenced from the outside by a really great salesperson, a great pitch, a great something, and being like, I would have gotten sucked right into that. First of all, love it. Second of all, hate it. But, the psychology side of me is like, I love that. I can't believe you got me. And the fact that you got me that good is really impressive. So then I got to break it down and, go talk to them some more. But,
so speaking of Amway.
No, I do really loved that. Loved being involved in that for a number of years. It's amazing. Met some really, really, really great people in that. The products are amazing. The business I recognize too really depends upon the MLM you're involved in, because
Sure.
Amway itself was just products. And then
Okay.
the way you run your business is completely separate.
Okay.
So totally, totally separate, which I think is really interesting. Because everybody thinks it's all one thing only. And it's not, because I was involved in several different legs or teaching styles, different things.
Okay.
And some I really, really subscribed to and thought were really good. And then others were just shisty, just
Right.
terrible.
There's
a bit of shystiness to all of them, but
I was gonna say I've only experienced the shisty versions of MLMs, but
yeah,
I think that not the people that were
people that are involved, I believe most of the time,
but the
at
structure.
least, yes, and the way that it operates and the way that you make money, it usually
Right.
feels shisty.
Yeah,
And so,
exactly.
yeah,
Well, it is
that's important.
a short day.
Anyway,
we got to wrap up.
we can talk about that. We can talk about that on another episode. Okay,
Yeah.
so I would say let's keep touching on the. Just keep pouring money into the ads.
Of
right?
course, yeah. Just pour.
You have plenty, so just pour it in.
Just douse
just keep
that
doing the
cash with
test.
gasoline and set it on fire.
Yeah. No, but I really enjoy that segment that we're doing, because I've had interest in running ads and doing different things. And I've thrown money at ads and done it incorrectly and then been like, well, that was a mistake.
Right.
So I'm looking forward to just seeing some of the more recent beta tests that are and so it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, and I think
I don't know. It may or may not be for our audience, our words are hard, our audience, but I'm hoping so, because really, I think it does really boil down to it should help them mind their business, because they may be thinking, yeah, I'm going to run ads because I know this person ran ads and it worked like a champ. Yes, hold on.
Yeah.
Like, before you just go throwing money into the fire, like, let's make sure we're burning it properly.
Well, again, like I said last week, like I know what the issue is. Roast of the Week has not earned the right to ask for anyone's money, at least the people that are viewing those ads.
Green.
So
right.
Exactly. You got to nurture that relationship. So, it's a whole other discussion, but yeah, we can talk about relationship nurturing or, lead nurturing another time, but we haven't done any of that. We're just, because it was Black Friday, coming out and
I'll tell you what, dude, it's so crazy, because as you're saying that, I'm like, oh my God, I can think of like months worth of content to do for Roast of the Week that would slowly, incrementally tell the story. It would be engaging enough to where people would want to watch it and do all of that, but it's based around the product and what the product benefits are. Yeah. And so I'm like, oh my God, why can I do it for everyone else, but I can't do it for myself?
That's it.
And I recognize too, I don't have a product. I'm not trying to sell anything. And every time my directioner wraps something up and is like, here's the thing, here's what you're going to sell. So you can sell coaching to people so that they can get their relationship up to par, or they can learn to date, or they can learn to, get over the person. I don't want to coach. I do that all day long as a therapist. Right. I don't want to do, I want to just have fun making videos.
Yeah.
And so I need to find that sweet spot where the two of those overlap. So we'll have to talk about it some more, fine tune it over the next, 40, 50 episodes. Who cares? I got plenty of time. I got the rest of my life.
But that's what we're about, right? We're like sharing our journey, and it is a story. This is our long form version of storytelling. It's your thing, my thing, and doing this thing together. But yeah, so it's been a good one. We got to go.
Yep.
But I think we're back again next week this time.
Yes.
Maybe a little earlier, like on time.
Right.
And then
hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully no technical issues that next week. But yeah. We've kind of gotten away
Sounds
from
good.
awkward exits, but I don't know. Should we bring it back? We ended awkward every time.
We got rid of the awkward exits.
Last week was a little awkward, but we used to end very awkward. I don't know. Maybe we've grown past that.
Well, that wasn't intentional. It just got weird at the end. It's just trying to wrap everything up, because we were trying to do the, use the podcast voice and do the whole, well, thanks so much for listening. But I think I'm just kind of over that.
Yeah, I actually forgot. I forgot that we weren't talking in our radio voices. Like our.
Yeah.
This is just us. But actually, that's what's great about this. Again, because I think when we started this, it was a little more.
We were trying to make it something a little more polished, and now it's
yeah.
just documenting what we're doing. So
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks for listening.
Polished anyway. Yes. Good day, sir.
Yes. Thanks for listening, and talk to you next time.
All right. Later.
All right. Bye.
Whoa.